The Meek Shall Inherit. On the evening of December 2nd, 2002, Renee Alcala took a call from a friend in the security business. The friend told her that a Class C office suite of maybe 750 square feet was about to become available, most likely a broken lease. Just that afternoon, a locksmith had visited the premises. Shortly thereafter, the property manager had come by and put a real estate key box on the front door. Renee thanked her friend, promising him love and kisses. She figured the space wouldn't be officially listed until tomorrow morning at 9, at the earliest. She also figured she didn't need to wait for the listing. Renee had worked with this property manager 3 or 4 times before, enough to know the combinations of his boxes. Between acting jobs, and since the turn of the millennium the betweens had been growing longer, Renee supported herself as a freelance commercial real estate agent, a profession that demanded outstanding attention to the details of time and place. She applied her attention to her busy days via her voluminous, leather-bound Franklin planner, on whose crisp professional pages, much more reliable than that impossible palm thing Bradley had given her last year for her birthday, she religiously recorded tips, leads, brainstorms, action items, agendas, the preferences and aspirations of her clients, and every appointment, meeting, conversation, get-together, and chat in her working life, noted at either the moment it was scheduled or the moment it occurred. Noted with discretion, of course. Renee had heard the horror stories about Franklin planners getting subpoenaed. Could you imagine? So she often used a private system of shorthand invented by herself and her best friend back in junior high. Later, depending on who was asking, she might or might not be able to read her own notes. The next morning at 7:15 a.m., Renee pulled into a strip mall at the intersection of Lemon Grove and Northwestern Avenues. The office suite, according to her source, was located on the second story above a lavanderia and next door to a nail salon. The laundromat was already busy, but otherwise the strip mall was quiet. It's always so much easier to park, thought Renee, before the businesses are open. Now, it certainly wasn't Renee's job to do any cleaning, but her ability to close deals depended on her properties looking sharp, so she kept a small plastic crate of cleaning supplies in the trunk of her car. On that December morning, Renee was hopeful that this particular space might be almost ready to show. She had a line on a massage therapist eager to break his own lease if he could find a location with adequate parking and better visibility. She took the crate from her trunk, set her Franklin planner on top of it, and balanced her purse atop the planner. Then she picked up the crate and climbed, in her high heels, the outdoor stairway to the upper level. When she found the door with the key box attached, Renee set down the crate and looked around. The open-air walkway was clean and well-swept, with only a few cracks in the concrete. The suite itself had floor-to-ceiling front windows obscured by closed curtains. Ecru, woven fabric, decent shape. Renee could smell the moist, soapy air from the lavanderia below, with only the faintest tang of nail remover drifting in from the neighboring salon. All in all, the front door first impression wasn't nearly as dreadful as Renee might have feared, if she had been the kind of person who allowed herself negative thinking. In her Franklin planner, she had a page just for combinations. The second one worked. As she took the key out of the box, she noticed a business card taped inside the glass door. Terrapin Pictures, Hollywood, California. Technically true, thought Renee. This side of Western is in the 90038 zip code. As she opened the door and surveyed the empty office suite, Renee knew right away that her petite bottles of cleaning supplies would remain in their crate. Piles of stuff all over the place, papers on the floor. This property needed the attentions of a professional crew, ASAP. Renee slid the plastic crate through the door with her foot, taking care not to scuff her shoe or catch her heel. Then she closed the door and gave herself a quick tour. The suite had a front reception area, a tiny half bath, and 3 small offices in the back, the largest of which had a refrigerator in the corner, a whiteboard on the wall, 6 folding chairs facing in random directions, and a long conference table with 4 empty pizza boxes stacked on top. Amid the smudges and doodles on the whiteboard, she could read Manga Tropes Noir in red, Echo Reveal in faint green, and The Rules of This World in crisp, decisive blue. Not nearly as bad as it might be, thought Renee, as she set the chairs neatly in place under the table. And no insects. That was a plus. But all this furniture, it had to go. Today. Renee took out her cell phone. First, she left a message for the massage therapist, just to keep him dreaming of a fresh start. Then she called the property manager to demand a moving crew and a top-notch janitorial service. When the manager started to whine about how much it would cost and how those college kids from out east had skipped out on their lease, Renee showed him the full force of her positive, professional, and proactive attitude. Pretty soon he was promising whatever she needed and apologizing for wasting her time with an unshowable space. She smiled as she closed her phone. Of course Renee preferred to get into a space early, just like this, and assume control. As she walked back out to the reception area, she looked at the large mess of papers on the floor. The pile was next to a reception counter, directly underneath a fax machine. Renee touched a button on the machine. There was still a dial tone. When the college kids who had played at being indie producers were moving out, they must have set the fax machine up on the counter and then forgot about it. Renee stooped down and picked up a page. According to the footer, the fax came from some number in the 812 area code, which Renee was pretty sure wasn't anywhere in California. Page 17 of 50. She picked up the rest of the pile, put the pages on the counter, and straightened and sorted until she found a title page. The Meek Shall Inherit, a proposal for an historical telenovela in the American language by Damien de Savoya Underwood. She finished collating and checked the time on her phone. The moving crew was due in less than an hour. Renee decided she might as well stay until they arrived. From her crate she took out a spray bottle and cleaned a hard plastic chair. No way was she sitting on anything upholstered in this place. When, to her light touch, the disinfected chair was sufficiently dry, she sat down to read. After 3 pages she looked back at the cover sheet to see the name of the author. Damien de Savoya Underwood. What kind of a name was that? Whoever he was, wherever he was faxing from, Renee could tell that Damien de Savoya Underwood was in love with his female lead, a delicate, fragile beauty with surprising inner strength named Bertha of Savoy. It was, Renee would later admit, the first she had ever seen or heard of Bertha, soon to become Bertha the Great, the enigmatic empress played by Renee Alcala, for 73 episodes on cable TV.